Hi, cuties! We are sitting in the hovel of truth, as we all know, because it is time for Real Talk with Q, Part 2, with special guest, Ochan.
Hello!
When did you come to Japan?
Last September.
Okay, how long are you going to be here for?
Till August.
So today, we're going to cover some topics that I asked you guys on Facebook. I asked you about what fears and hesitations you have in coming to Japan, in the decision to come to Japan. And I thought it'd be good to have another voice about that. So I wrote down all the topics, the most popular topics that came up, and we're going to talk about them. You ready for our first topic?
I think so.
The first one is, of course, the fear of failure to get to Japan. What do you have to say about that?
At least my school set up almost everything. It was just the paperwork and making sure everything got there and was filled out correctly.
The thing is, you don't give up. If you're afraid of failing and feeling that you're never going to get here, that's obviously going to, get in your head. But you have to, keep pushing it. If one thing doesn't go through, go for another thing. So if you're in college, it's easier because you can do study abroad programs. If you're not in college and you want to come here, there's lots of different ways that you can get here. So if one way doesn't work out, just look for more options because there's tons of options. And you can do it. I believe in you. Do you believe in them?
I believe.
We believe in you. Second topic is being emotionally and physically prepared for coming to Japan.
Because everyone has an idea of Japan and then you get here is totally different.
Yeah.
I knew what I expected was probably not going to be the actual Japan.
Yeah. If you think everything that you've seen in anime is what Japan is, then you're going to be horribly disappointed.
Or even dramas too.
Or your dramas.
It's totally different.
Well, sometimes.
When you hear countryside, it's countryside in Japan, but compared to the US or other countries, it's still more city.
It's still more city. But there's a lot of places that are really, really, really countryside. Like, she's in the Tokyo area countryside, so that's more like a suburb. But Fukui, where I lived, that was pretty countryside, but still it was like a suburb of a suburb. How about physically prepared? Were you physically prepared for Japan?
Physically prepared?
She was totally physically prepared. One thing, though, is Japan has a lot of stairs. Not so many escalators and elevators.
Well, at train stations, you always find escalators.
Sometimes. Smaller ones, there's not.
Like Saitama and Tokyo, I always find an escalator, I think. But I think recently I've been trying to take the stairs more because you have to walk everywhere.
Yeah. There's a lot of stairs, especially if you are going to be a jet. You're in the schools. There's no elevators and escalators stuff, so schools you're walking on a lot of stairs. And especially if you don't end up not having a car, you're going to walk a lot like I do, or you're going to have a bike. So you have to be physically prepared for that.
But even biking, because there's so many hills in a lot of places.
Yeah, biking can get you.
It can get you.
But don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You can get around. The big one we really had is not having enough money.
I just worked all summer long at my part-time job. Mostly school loans and grants is the only thing I got until this coming semester, but
yeah. It's definitely cheaper to come here as a student. You guys know that I did a bunch of fundraising. I did a GoFundMe. I sold stuff on Etsy. I did garage sales. Garage sales, do not underestimate the power of a garage sale. And obviously doing odd jobs, just totally begging for jobs and money.
Another good thing about being a student is half the time they're looking for English speakers for part-time jobs.
That's true. And you can get part-time jobs here.
Lots of people, if there's a welcome party at your university, there'll be people they're recruiting for it specifically.
Hey.
Because I got a job that way.
But if you work with Jet and stuff, you are not allowed to have a part-time job. You have one job and that's what you got. The big one, a lot of people wrote this one, is access to medication and healthcare in Japan. I will say healthcare is great here because anyone can get it.
It's fairly cheap too.
You can have people send you stuff. Some stuff is illegal, obviously. Things like you can't have Sudafed here. I don't know a full list, but you can easily look that list up via the Google. But a lot of medications you can get, or you can get the equivalent of them here. So for me, I have asthma. I can get an equivalent to what I would have in America. There are lots of clinics that have different specialties. So some of them special in ear, nose, throat doctors, and then there's big hospitals, and there's physical therapy doctors everywhere. So for whatever illness you have, they will probably have a clinic for that, or you can go to the larger hospitals, because I know someone was talking about an endocrinologist, which, I mean, if my mom came here, she'd have to come see. And there are definitely doctors for that here.
It's really easy to find a clinic half the time.
Yeah, they're everywhere. Bugs.
Yeah.
Bugs in Japan. More specifically, cockroaches, mukade, suzumebachi.
Tsunamis.
The big giant bees.
Oh my god.
Suzumebachi are rare. They're around. If you live more in the countryside areas, you'll get more of them. But they will only kill you if they sting you twice. That's what I hear. It's twice and you're dead. And they're horribly aggressive.
Oh my god.
Suzumebachi, just get away from them as quickly as you can.
Any bee just right.
But they're not as common as it's made out to be. Have you ever seen a mukade here?
What's a mukade?
I need my phone. I can show you a picture of these horrible things.
I don't want to see it.
Centipedes.
Oh my god.
The horrible centipedes.
They're like...
They can get pretty big. And they won't kill you, but they will...
crawl into your brain?
No. They bite. And if they bite, you should go to a hospital, because they can make you pretty sick. This is how you deal with a mukade. If you find one,
Kill it.
do not squish it.
Really?
It will send out pheromones to the mate. They travel in twos.
Oh, great.
So what you have to do is you can either, if you squish it, you have to disinfect immediately. But there's a high chance of that the mate mukade will still find you and revenge bite you.
Revenge bite?
Yeah, that's what they do.
Oh.
And what you have to do is drown it. That's how you get rid of a mukade. Do not squish it.
My first instinct is kill.
And how about cockroaches?
Oh, I've seen them already.
Yeah, how bad are they?
They're not very big,
Yeah.
but there's a lot usually.
There's usually a lot,
If
but
you see one,
you
there's
can
a
get repellents too. There's a lot of even in like Daisos.
Oh yeah.
100 yen stores, you can get repellents for mukade.
Oh, I need that.
When I lived in Fukui, I had a cockroach in my apartment one time. And that was it.
I haven't seen any cockroaches in my dorm.
Yeah.
Yet,
So it's
but
okay.
Now that we're talking about it.
Now we're like, oh.
I'm just gonna be like, where are they?
So language barriers. How do you find the language barrier?
I think for getting around, it's fairly okay. Especially if you're around Saitama, Tokyo area like that, because there's so much English, like
Yeah. Bigger cities, it's easier.
with the signs. But if you need to communicate with anyone, usually it's a little harder.
It's a little harder.
I always have a friend come with.
Yeah. And especially when you're setting up your stuff, normally you won't have to do that on your own. There will be someone with you. Every time I've had to get a phone, there's been someone with me. You can also request translation services, which I know you can do. How do you request translation services? I'm not entirely sure, but it's something I should look into, I guess. But I haven't really needed them because I can usually get my point across and I can usually understand what's being said to me from phone companies and banks and things like that. So, but when in doubt, if you really are worried about something, just call a friend, call a manager, a coworker. Someone will definitely help you. Do not be afraid to ask for help. Again, that's like the theme of today's videos. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
It really is. Because it's better to ask than to try and struggle your way through it.
Renting and finding a place to live.
Me, I had no problem.
Yeah.
It's through school.
Yeah. And same, mine's through the company. Most of the time, if you come here through a company or something, they will find you an apartment for you. If you want to move, that can be difficult. But I'm not going to get into it because Rachel and June, they made a video recently about this, so go check it out. They explained a lot of really good things about finding a place to live in Japan on your own without the help of like coworkers and stuff. So go check out their video. Social awkwardness from cultural differences.
God.
Someone here knows all about social awkwardness, and that someone is both of us. How do you get over that?
Well, the best thing to do is to keep going out and interacting with people to eventually learn what is acceptable and what makes you look like an awkward foreigner.
Trial and error.
Exactly.
Go with it. Just go with the flow. Being socially awkward, especially if you're really shy, it can be a struggle. Especially if you have to ask for help and stuff, but you have to push through it. I know how hard it can be, but if you don't do it, you'll just get stuck. And that's not gonna help you. Trial and error.
Trial and error.
And push yourself.
And asking for help again.
Asking for help. A theme.
That's one way to avoid awkwardness.
Earthquakes and tsunamis.
Well, I've only dealt with earthquakes so far.
Yeah, I haven't had a tsunami, but, well, I've been here during the tsunami, but it didn't affect me because I wasn't in the area where it happened.
And I'm far enough away, so I don't think I have to worry about it.
Yeah.
I'm like in the center.
I would have to worry about it.
You would have to
Here,
worry.
where I live now, I would have to worry about tsunami.
We saw
If there's
the
a
sea.
big, yeah, we could see it on our walk outside today.
And we discussed what would happen if the wave made it all the way
If
this far.
if there was suddenly a tsunami, we had this discussion today. That's actually really funny. Earthquakes, I mean, tsunami, you have to gauge just by the earthquake. Obviously, there's a lot of warning systems now, and Japan is taking more precautions since the last one that happened. Earthquakes usually aren't that big a deal. Because Japan gets them so often. Usually they're pretty small. If there are a bigger one, do you know what to do?
Aren't you supposed to get under a table?
Get under a table. Stay away from glass. Wait for it to pass. A lot of apartments they're built to not withstand. They're built to be able to handle a certain level of earthquakes. So Japan is pretty prepared for earthquakes. It is on three. It merges three different large tectonic plates.
The scariest thing for me, though, so far, is one day there was an earthquake, and my phone went nuts.
Oh, yeah, because they do the warning systems on your phone.
The phone, it scared me more than the earthquake. I was like, do I go outside? What's going on?
Yeah.
But,
there is a warning system that'll come on your phone to let you know when there's an earthquake.
the earthquake wasn't even that bad. It was from a different area, but it was close enough, so it still notified me. But that's the only notification I've received so far for an earthquake.
Typhoons, however, are also a very common thing in Japan. Stay indoors. I'm kind of worried about typhoons this year because I'm so close to the sea and I don't have mountains to break them up like I did in Fukui. So our last topic today will be about homesickness and dealing with being away from your family. How are you dealing with it?
I mean, I miss my family, but I'm actually pretty okay here.
Yeah, same.
I mean, if you're mentally prepared to come here, and you know, for me, because I know I'll be back in a year, I'm totally fine.
It's okay. I mean, that's the beauty of Skype. That's why I don't think I ever really have any bad homesickness, is because my mom is a Skype call away and I can say Lucy dog. Because that's really what I call for. There is special leave. If you have a family emergency, there is special leave for you. So don't worry about having to get home because there will be options. A lot of airlines also offer a cheaper airline ticket for those who have to go back for funerals and stuff. I haven't actually bought one before, but I know they exist. You have to think about when you're coming to Japan, why are you coming to Japan? If this is something you've wanted to do your whole life, and you have the opportunity, you should take it. Don't let it fly by because you might not have another chance again. And I think your family would want to, support you. They should. Some families have, issues. I can't speak for every family in the world, but I think if your family knows that you really want to be, be in Japan and go to Japan, that you should take that opportunity and don't let the fear that something might happen, damper that.
Plus, if you're going as a student, you can easily, if you apply for a year, but then something happens and you only want to stay for half a year, you can easily go back, it seems like.
Yeah, you can. I had a few exchange students who also did that, who had to suddenly go back, and there was no real problem with, switching out their terms.
The only downside is the school years don't line up the greatest.
Yeah.
If you come for American fall semester, technically second semester here,
Yeah.
it lines up okay, but when it comes to spring
is kind of messed up.
That one's messed up.
That is all the advice we can give you. Thank you for joining us with Real Talk with Q and Ochan in the Hovel of Truth. Thank you all for responding. I hope we've eased your fears and hesitations a little bit, but the moral of the story is what?
Ask for help.
Ask for help. When you get here, just ask for help. Don't give up. You can do it because we believe in you. And if you have further questions and comments, leave them down below or, message me privately. A lot of people do it. I'm happy to talk with you. Thanks for joining me in the Hovel of Truth today, Ochan.
Thanks for inviting me and giving me tea.
See you next time, cuties. Bye! And now we're locked in a closet together.
feel like we just got kidnapped.
Help us. I don't know when they're coming back. We can't get out. You want some tea?
Oh yeah, is it still boiling hot?
Probably. We made tea just like last time, and I made it too hot again. Is it still hot?
Mine's good.
Oh, it's drinkable! But we've been already doing this for like 20 minutes. It's gotten foggy. Wow.
Zombies?